What I have here is a Kirambit. It's another variant of the knife, but it's a little different in that it's hooked a lot like a claw, and the inside of that claw is the sharpened portion. It's also got this little ring here, so you can hold it in a reverse grip like this, and hook and slash like that. Maybe flourish it a little bit, or you can hold it in a hammer grip and slash like that. Yeah, it's a kind of a limited application knife. You can't do quite as much as you can with a regular knife, but it's a really cool knife to play around with. It feels cool, it looks cool. I wouldn't say it's the most useful knife, but if you were to train in this, you would be just as skilled as somebody who's trained with a knife. You just have to know your weapon and train with it. You can train with anything. You could train with a stick and how to use it effectively as a baton and, you know, gouge somebody with it while you're fighting. So yeah, you just have to know your weapon and train with it. What I have here is called a collie stick. It's basically just a stick. It's inspired by the Filipino and Malaysian, Indonesian arts, just like the Kirambit. They both came from the same martial arts style and region. There's nothing extremely impressive about a collie stick. It's a very fast weapon, faster to use than a sword. It has a lot of real-life application because I know here on this property I could probably find dozens of things that are a lot like this. I could pick up if I had to. Let's say a wild dog were to start, running, some big pit bull or something, and it was after me. I could probably find something like this very quickly laying on the ground and use it to defend myself. Or in a self-defense situation. I mean, you could be walking through Walmart and somebody attacks you, and you might get lucky and find something that's just short and cylindrical like this. It might be a plunger on the bathroom area. That'd be a little funny. Defend yourself with a plunger. Probably not that effective, especially if you hit them with a plunger and it just bounces off because of the rubber, but maybe you could pull that off. So yeah, a collie stick. And in the Philippines, in collie, the style that really uses the collie stick, they would do some with single sticks, but they would also train with two of these at once and use two, which would be a lot more effective and pretty fun to train in. The tactical flashlight. This is one of those modern self-defense implements that people do train with. I've seen seminars where they train you fighting with a tactical flashlight. And, it's very useful. You got your light, maybe you can even blind your attacker with a strobe and then attack them while they're blinded. There's all sorts of different sizes. You might have one that's like a pin. Sometimes I carry it around. Which reminds me, I've got another Kirambit. This one is a folding Kirambit though. But anyways, it might be something you keep in your pocket, or it could be a big beast like this. Each one has its, different advantages. Obviously, I don't carry this around with me every day, but I think I'd rather have a bigger one rather than a smaller one if I got in a bad situation. But a smaller one would be something, it looks a lot like a pin. You could pull it out, it'd be still, have these little ridges, a lot like this one does, on the end of the pin one, and so you could still do a lot of damage in a self-defense situation. Of course, the bigger one's going to be better, because you could actually use this in a couple of different ways. You could use it like this to just hammer, or you could flip it around and use it kind of like a mini bat and just swing and hit, or like I said before, hammer. I guess one of the advantages to the hammer is you could have the strobe going and fight with it like that, whereas with the other one you'd have to literally point it out and then come in and swing. Wouldn't be quite as fast. I think it'd probably do a little bit more damage than just hammering like that. I don't know. Yeah, it would do more damage like that, but I wouldn't want to be hit with either. So this would be a great kind of home defense weapon that you could buy. Maybe keep it next to your bed at night. Somebody comes in. Blinding during the day wouldn't really, yeah, that's still pretty bright. And I can't see as well. It would be harder for me to block stuff. Even with martial arts blocks, it'd be harder to see that coming and initializing. Right now, my vision's all distorted because of the white. I still see these little floaters. And this is during the day. Now imagine it being pitch black in a house, and you're breaking into a house, and the owner comes around the corner and he's just shining this at you. You couldn't see a thing, and then he could not only come at you like this, but then after you're blinded, he could even click it off, and he could still see you fairly well, but you wouldn't be able to see anything. So that's one of the cool things I like about the tactical flashlight. And they have stun gun versions too, where it'll have these electric prongs on the end of these. And so when you actually hit somebody with it, it gives them an electric shock, which makes it even more effective. So take what you will. I think it's a good weapon to have. Let me know what you think in the comments below. This is another one of my favorite weapons. What is it? It's an expandable baton. And this has got a couple of applications. Even with it closed like this, you could use it like a coup baton. Use it to give force behind your punches. You could strike with it like that. Or even up with it like that. Say they were coming at you and, needed to get them off. Or you snap it out like that. And I wanted to be all cool and snap it out forward, and it just came out like that. The only thing I don't like about it is it's hard to get it back in. You kind of have to hammer it on the ground in order to get it to close again. But yeah, you saw how easy it was. You just flick out your wrist and it opens up. And then you've got this club, this baton. It comes in various sizes. This is one of the smaller ones. It would be more beneficial to have a longer one in a self-defense situation. Either one will work. I wanted it because I thought it would be easier to carry around. And I have carried this around in my pocket. It does work. The longer one might not work as well. But yeah, you snap it out and then use it a lot like you would the collie stick. And you can fight with it. You get hit with that. Just a strike to the arm is going to completely immobilize that arm, let alone a strike to the head or to the torso. This would be very painful to be hit with. If you hit somebody in the kneecap with this, whack, it would take them out of the fight for good, for permanently. They would not be getting back up. They'd be going to the hospital. You'd be able to live, make it, survive, whatever. Got a little tongue-tied there. So anyways, this is one of my favorites. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I have here a tomahawk. Again, it's a training tomahawk. Maybe I should have told you that before I whacked my arm with it. But yeah, so a tomahawk is a lot like a hatchet. It was Native American they had it, they started making it with, you know, stones. They do a big stone and wedge it on a piece of wood basically, and they'd sharpen it. And then as they progressed and were able to mold steel, they would use steel. And then now we've got versions that look a lot like this, only it would be steel instead of plastic at the top. And so this is a tomahawk, and I have another version of a tomahawk as well to show you. This here is a spittoon hawk. So it's a little bit different in that it replaces the standard axe-shaped head with this bill. And so it's more hooking. This tomahawk isn't quite as effective, in my opinion, as your regular style tomahawk. It's still great for throwing, which is a huge application and for a tomahawk, and it's a lot of fun to do. If you've ever wanted to try it, I recommend just do it. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, the thing with the spittoon hawk is the fact that it does have that curve. You can do a lot more hooking. You could, while you're fighting with that, reach around, grab behind your opponent's knee, and effectively hook one of their legs or hook a weapon. This one also has a hammer. It looks like a pipe. Native Americans would double some of their tomahawks as a tobacco pipe. This one though, it has that look, but it's really just a hammer. So this one's got kind of two weapons in one. You've got your spittoon hawk blade, but then you also have a hammer on the reverse side. So not the perfect camping tool like other traditional tomahawks could be, where you could chop up kindling and stuff. You can't really do that with this, but you could still drive a nail and have fun throwing. And if you ever had to use it in self-defense or a combat situation, it would prove a very scary weapon to have to face.